Hello fellow gardeners, and welcome back to the Humus Heritage. If you're watching those autumn leaves cascade down and your first instinct is reaching for those plastic bags, I want you to pause for just a moment. What if I told you that those leaves blanketing your yard right now are actually one of the most powerful soil healing tools nature has ever designed? We're not talking about simple composting here. Today I'm sharing 3 genuinely transformative methods that will turn those fallen leaves into living, breathing soil amendments that repair damage, wake up dormant microbial communities, and build fertility that lasts for years, all without spending a dime on synthetic fertilizers or store-bought amendments. The leaf mulch repair layer. Your soil's winter medicine. Let's start with what I call the repair layer approach, because this method specifically targets one of the most frustrating problems gardeners face: compacted, lifeless soil that fights you every time you try to work it. When you shred autumn leaves and spread them as a thick blanket directly over your garden beds, you're essentially creating a slow-release carbon factory that feeds an entire underground workforce you've probably never even seen. Here's what actually happens beneath that layer. The shredded leaves begin breaking down gradually, and as they do, they release carbon compounds that become food specifically for fungal networks in your soil. These fungi are absolutely crucial because they produce compounds called glomalin, which acts like a natural glue that binds soil particles together into stable aggregates. This process literally rebuilds soil structure from the ground up, creating those beautiful, crumbly textures we all dream about when we imagine perfect garden soil. The beauty of this repair layer is timing. When you apply shredded leaves in fall, they work all winter long while your garden rests. They prevent erosion from winter rains and snow. They moderate soil temperatures to protect beneficial organisms, and they prevent moisture from evaporating during those unexpected warm spells. By spring, when you're ready to plant, you'll notice something remarkable when you push your garden fork into the soil. Where it once required serious effort to penetrate compacted layers, you'll find the fork slides in smoothly, meeting far less resistance. That's not magic. That's the physical result of organic matter integration and fungal activity restructuring your soil matrix. The partially decomposed leaves can be gently worked into the top few inches before planting, or simply pulled back to create planting spaces, then tucked back around your transplants as living mulch that continues feeding the soil throughout the growing season. Now let's talk about leaf mold, which I genuinely believe is one of the most underutilized amendments in modern gardening. This isn't regular compost, and that distinction matters enormously. Leaf mold is created when leaves decompose primarily through fungal action rather than the bacterial decomposition that dominates traditional hot composting. The process is wonderfully simple. You pile leaves in a corner of your yard, keep them moderately moist, and then exercise patience for 1 to 2 years. What emerges from this waiting period is something that looks almost like dark, crumbly chocolate cake, and its effects on soil are honestly remarkable. The fungal dominance in leaf mold creates an amendment that excels at moisture retention in ways that regular compost simply cannot match. Studies have shown that leaf mold can hold up to 500% of its weight in water, making it an absolute game changer for sandy soils that drain too quickly or for gardeners dealing with increasingly unpredictable rainfall patterns. When you work leaf mold into your garden beds or use it as a top dressing around perennials and fruit trees, you're inoculating your soil with concentrated fungal populations that continue colonizing and improving soil structure long after application. The fungal networks extend throughout your beds, connecting plant roots and facilitating nutrient exchange in ways that create genuine resilience in your garden ecosystem. For those growing perennials, berries, or establishing fruit trees, this fungal-rich environment mimics the natural forest floor conditions where these plants evolved, giving them exactly what they need to thrive without constant intervention from you. The third method might sound almost too simple to be effective, but I assure you it's been transforming gardens for generations. Trench composting with leaves creates what I think of as underground humus factories that slowly release fertility exactly where your plants need it most. Here's how it works in practice. During fall or early winter, dig shallow trenches between your garden rows, along pathways, or in areas where you plan to plant next season. These don't need to be deep. 8 to 12 inches is plenty. Fill these trenches with layers of shredded leaves, perhaps mixing in some kitchen scraps if you have them, then cover everything back over with the soil you removed. What happens underground over the following months is genuinely fascinating. The buried leaves create an oxygen-reduced environment that favors different decomposition pathways compared to surface composting. This slower, cooler breakdown produces stable humus compounds that persist in soil for years rather than months. The organic matter acts as a magnet for earthworms, which tunnel through the decomposing layers, simultaneously aerating your compacted soil and coating the organic matter with their castings, which are among the most nutrient-dense natural fertilizers available. By the time your spring planting season arrives, those buried leaves have transformed into rich pockets of fertility, right in the root zones where your vegetables and flowers will be growing. The benefits continue accumulating year after year if you rotate your trench locations, gradually building deep, living soil throughout your entire garden space, without ever purchasing bagged amendments. These three methods work beautifully on their own, but their real power emerges when you use them together as a comprehensive soil building system. Use the repair layer method on beds you're actively growing in, start a leaf mold pile in a corner for future seasons, and dig trenches in paths or fallow areas to build fertility for next year's rotation. This integrated approach harnesses the complete nutrient profile locked in those fallen leaves, feeds the full spectrum of soil microorganisms from bacteria to fungi, and addresses multiple soil problems simultaneously, from compaction to poor water retention to depleted fertility. The investment is nothing more than your time and a bit of physical effort, yet the returns compound year after year as your soil becomes richer, more alive, and more capable of supporting abundant growth without constant inputs from you. If you're ready to transform your garden from the ground up and join a community of gardeners building genuinely regenerative growing spaces, make sure you subscribe to the Humus Heritage and hit that notification bell so you never miss our soil building strategies. Share this video with fellow gardeners who are ready to see their autumn leaves as the treasure they truly are. Your healthiest garden ever is waiting, and it starts with leaving those bags at the curb this fall.